And I'm coming at you with a bit of a live stream. Yep, nothing but a live stream. Yep. Mm-hmm. So, what can we talk about? Yeah, we got hmm. Yeah, we got one viewer. Hi. Don't forget to down below, introduce yourself. Yep, this is hmm. Kiki mama. Hmm. Hmm. I wish I could actually get the actual wild doll, like Casey Jones mask. Hey, we got a first viewer here. Hi, welcome. Introduce yourself. Uh, yeah, this is just a free, like, a kind of a Q&A thing. Like, you want to hang out, just, shoot me, shoot me some questions, anything you want to talk about. Well, we'll be covering it. So yeah, anyone got any questions? Want to shoot the breeze about something? Just sound off. Just sound off in the comments. Glad you can hear me. Oh, yep. Do I like TMNT? Yes, I do. Dawn of Justice, yes, I do. Thank you for the question. I do really love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I love the franchise. Believe it or not, I actually was introduced. I'm old enough to I've grown up with the 2003 Turtles. But I actually was first introduced to the 80s Turtles. You know, the whole Cowabunga dude, Turtle Power, the 80s Turtles, which, were fun. I mean, everyone always says they were goofy and everything, but, well, they were. But, I mean, they actually did have some good episodes, fairly, it was the 80s, it was like the tail end of the 80s before the, like, whole 90s style, like, everything has to be dark and serious, everything took over. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. First it was the '80s Turtles. Thank you, Bizarre Guy. First it was the '80s Turtles. Then it was the movie. So I guess I kind of like a layer of each iteration. I was like, I was about 6 years old when I first like saw, like, we had some VHS tapes. I know I'm dating myself there, with the VHS tapes of, like, the original '80s cartoon, and then moved on to, like, of course, first movie, which is actually one of my top 10 comic book adaptations. And of course, you had the 2003 Turtles, and, I've just been a fan ever since. Believe it or not, the hockey mask is not just because I'm a Jason fan. It's just because, well, I can't afford the actual NECA Casey Jones mask, and I really do want that. Casey Jones, as far as, like, okay, outside of the Turtles themselves, Casey Jones is my favorite character of the Ninja Turtles. Mostly because I just love how the fact he could theoretically work just by himself. He's just like, he's got a lot of he's to me, Casey Jones is as iconic as the Turtles. Why he has never had a solo spin-off comic just to himself that's lasted any kind of length. I actually don't think he's actually had a spin-off. It's weird, but just I think he could hold one. So yeah, yep. I am a very big TMNT fan. Thanks for that question, Dawn of Justice. So yeah, uh, yep. Anything else? Yeah. Well, wait, another question. Will say. I guess my favorite. I guess I could list my favorite iterations of the Turtles. Oddly enough, the 2012 Turtles are my favorite. Like as far as if we're talking like non-comics, the 2012 iteration of the Turtles would have to be my favorite. Mostly because I think that show just really did a good job of blending the more goofy aspects of the franchise with the more serious. Whereas like the 2003, like the 80s show was a little too goofy at times. The 2003 show could be a little too serious at points. Like for some stuff, like it could just get like absolutely dark. I mean, seriously, we got one of the darkest episodes of a cartoon ever, um, same as it never was from that show. Um, but whereas I think the 2012 show actually hit a good balance. It was as dark as it needed to be in spots, and it was as light as it needed to be in spots. Um, Comics wise, yeah. Oh yeah, had the best shredder. Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. Seriously, you can't. Yeah, bizarre. You can't really. 2003 did have the best shredder. I'm not gonna argue that one, but um, another thing too, though. Comics wise, Turtles. It would have to be um really right off the bat. I would have to say the current run actually. Before the current run, it would have to. I would say it would be the Archie Comics Turtles, which yes, it was based on the '80s cartoon, but it really did go off in its own thing. Then the Mirage Turtles, and yeah, finally the right now since they came along the IDW Turtles. Okay, what was my favorite spy? Who was my favorite Spider-Man live action Spider-Man actors from worst to best? Okay, we've had okay. If we're talking like just the three out of the three, that's a tough one. Personally, I mean, don't get me wrong. I grew up like pretty much everyone. I kind of grew up on Tobey Maguire. Um, Now was he the best Spider-Man? I think it's kind of hard to rank them because like okay, everyone has their preconceived notion of what Spider-Man's supposed to be. For me, I believe like okay, if we're okay, ranking it from best like just straight on like okay, this is how the character should be. Okay, I would have to say Tobey Maguire at the bottom. I know I probably ticked off a lot of people with that one. But to me, Tobey Maguire, he fit a very early Steve Ditko Spider-Man. Because Steve Ditko Spider-Man, Peter Parker was the loser. He was the absolute like loser guy, and Spider-Man was not really as jokey under Steve Ditko. He really wasn't, which kind of translated a lot to the way the Spider-Man was in the movies because the entire Raimi trilogy was kind of like a snapshot of it was kind of like was kind of like a snapshot of like the 60s comics, the early 60s comics. That's what they were trying to go for. Um Spider-Man. Next up, I would have to say Tom Holland. Now, this is not necessarily against because how he's playing Peter Parker. It's more, and before anyone says anything, no, this is not because they don't mention Uncle Ben, they don't mention Uncle Ben. No, 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 that's not the issue here. To me, I think because here's the thing, they outright said his Spider-Man is still growing. It's still he's that was the whole that's the whole point of these Spider-Man movies that Tom Holland's in is that he's still growing as Spider-Man. So the idea is he's not. I think he can be a great Spider-Man. I think he is a perfectly good Spider-Man now. but again, the whole point is his character arc is not over yet. So at the same time, though, it's kind of hard to judge that one right now. They said they were going to finish it up in Far From Home and then go from there. So I mean, not Far From Home. Finish it up in No Way Home. So right now he sits at number two. Now number one is Andrew Garfield. Mostly because I feel like, okay, even if it's Peter Parker, could have been more of a loser, because really they kind of play him as not so much a. I mean, here's the thing. It's kind of weird, but if you could take Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker and mix him with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, how he played Spider-Man like in the costume, you would have had a very, very good Spider-Man, like right there. Like I would have probably won the best one. Um, but yeah, for the it just I really felt like one, it's because he never got a chance to really do much. Like seriously, two movies. One was an origin movie. The other was butchered uh, by just so much studio mandates and everything, and it was just. I don't think Andrew Garfield really got a fair chance. You know, he he just didn't, and some people might complain about the storyline and everything. Like again, to me, he just didn't get a fair chance. He just didn't honestly get a fair chance because his first movie was just an origin movie, which okay, good. I mean, no one likes an origin movie. Really, let's be honest. Yeah, an origin movie can be good if there's enough to it. But really, let's be honest here. Half of it's just okay. Can we get to the action, please? We know how this goes. The origin's just there to explain, like briefly, what's going on. Move to the action. But not all origin stories are like that. Amazing Spider-Man kind of was. But yeah, so yeah, um, yeah, Tom, Andrew Garfield for me, and okay, what about Bizarre Guy? What about the first live-action Spider-Man? Oh, we're talking the '70s live-action show, like the late '70s, early '80s show that was trying to follow the leader with the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk. I always forget that actor's name. I hate that I do. But I actually do own. Sad thing, I actually do own the the DVDs of that, and it is a good show. I'll admit, for the time, it's a good show. Do I wish they could have tried to like do more with the like bring in more villains? Yeah, I mean, okay, obviously it's a '70s show. You can't expect logically expect to have Doctor Octopus in that show and it looked good. But I think there were a few villains they could have used. Um, that could have because apparently the idea of that show was they wanted to go for a more um realistic Spider-Man, and really the idea of a realistic Spider-Man, like which has merit, but at the same time they were trying to avoid super villains and stuff. And when really like a few of the villains just you literally could have just done the villains. Like this one guy that was hypnotizing people and everything. I'm like, okay, you could literally just make that Mysterio. Literally just make it Mysterio. Why are you not doing that? Um, but as it stands, he felt like a very good '70s era Peter Parker. So yeah, not much to say there. I mean, it wasn't a really long running show, but it was for what it was. Would I like to see more of it? Yeah, but I can also understand at the same time why it was canceled. Let's just be honest here. Did you see Venom 2? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Call me crazy. I actually liked it. Yep. I actually really did like Venom 2. Yep. And I have a friend who is a diehard Venom fan, and before I go too far, I'm gonna leave it as I liked it because, yeah, just in case he sees this. Yeah, it's the Bizarro guy. It seemed to be a weird rule in the shows back in the day where supervillains were taboo. Yeah, yeah. Now with the Hulk, it kind of worked, mostly because, well, obviously would have been cool to see, General Ross and everything. Yeah, but at the same time, that's kind of a it would kind of like throw in the fly in the face of the setup of the show. The Hulk is more or less an urban myth, and everything. And Bruce slapping David Banner is dead. Don't get me wrong, I love that show. I will never call him David Banner because they outright in the opening say his full name is David Bruce Banner. Funny story. The reason he's not called Bruce Banner in the '70s show, Incredible Hulk show, was one of the producers felt the name Bruce was gay. Not kidding. That was the reason. Yeah. Never mind the fact that there are plenty of people named Bruce that are not gay. Also, the fact, let's see here. Oh yeah, Batman, Bruce Wayne. You're gonna say that's gay? Like. Obviously, it's like, just really that's your reason. You're just gonna go, all right, well, whatever. Stan Lee actually did not like that because, like, oh, so the name I came up with wasn't good enough for you. But they had look up the production notes for a while for some of the Incredible Hulk stuff, because originally, believe it or not, they originally wanted the Hulk to be red. Yeah, like, believe it or not, they originally wanted the Hulk to be red. So we almost had Red Hulk at one point. Also, another thing, it's going to be a third Incredible Hulk TV movie. Yeah, we had Return of the Incredible Hulk, Trial of the Incredible Hulk, which had Daredevil and Thor, which were clearly supposed to be like backdoor pilots for Daredevil and Thor to have shows. But the planned third Incredible Hulk TV movie would have rebooted the show. And now, no, sorry, it was the fourth one. Yeah, there's gonna be a fourth one because in the third one he dies. Spoiler alert. I mean, well, the title's called Death of the Incredible Hulk. But that one he dies, and the fourth reboot movie would have been, would have actually been, where, again, it would be a reboot, and at the same time, though, it would reveal that the Hulk cannot die. Like, we literally would have had this would have been in the '90s. This would have happened, and we would have had like the Immortal Hulk way before. Um, we would have had the Immortal Hulk way before now. And the interesting thing was, it would have changed up the formula where, yes, he would still transform when he was angry, but he would have more control of himself and like actually be able to. We actually would have heard the Hulk talk, kind of play to a bit of the Professor Hulk stuff that was going on in the comics at the time. Sadly, Mr. Bill Bixby passed, so that never happened. But yeah, all right. The weirdest was Lois and Clark. I mean, it had villains, and I liked it. For some reason, they only used two villains from the comics. Deathstroke doesn't count. Yeah, yeah, Weirdly, they made Deathstroke this magnetic guy who gained like magnetic powers. Like, you could have called him Dr. Polaris. Like, I mean, it's like you didn't even have the name Slade Wilson. It was just, I have magnet powers. I am Deathstroke. I'm like, really? When I think magnet powers, I don't think the name Deathstroke. I mean, even if I had no idea who Deathstroke was, I'm pretty sure I would not associate magnet powers with that name. Pretty, like, that's just off the top of my head. I really don't think. I mean, just the name Deathstroke makes me think, okay, someone that like slices stuff. I mean, just like stroke, whatever. But or like could cause someone to have a stroke, like with mental powers or something, not magnetic powers. Uh, yeah. Wasn't there a joke in Walk Hard where they mention a Red Hulk in that show? I think so. Um, do I like Pokemon? Oops, sorry about that. Let's see here. Do I like Pokemon? If so, which generation? Which one is your favorite? Okay. I haven't been to Pokemon like for a while. Like I was never a huge Pokemon fan, even as a kid. I like Pokemon. Don't get me wrong. I like Pokemon. I was just never a huge follower of it. Digimon was my Digimon was my pride and joy. Um, um, but I do like Pokemon. And might sound odd. It is the first generation, and my favorite though would have to be Machamp. Yep. Really, yeah, really. Is I mean, it's a pro wrestling based Pokemon. I'm a pro wrestling nut, so yeah. But yeah, that's it. See here. Oh yeah, Bizarre Guy She Hulk. Yeah, yeah. They did try to do a Bridget Nielsen She Hulk. I forget if it was a movie or show, but they really were going to try and do that. Yeah. It never got past like that one publicity photo though. Let's see. Dawn Justice. Are you going to see the Eternals? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Really, the Eternals is kind of odd in that odds. Eternals really is the odd duck in the Marvel universe. Hang on, I'm using my phone, so I'm gonna have to get back, plug it up a little bit. Uh, yeah. There. But yeah, the Eternals is kind of the odd duck in the MCU at this point because, like, okay, really in the Marvel universe in general, mostly because you have. I mean, like the thing is, they were created by Jack Kirby, um, who intended them to exist in their own universe. Like originally, the Eternals did not exist in the Marvel universe; they were in their own separate thing, their own separate universe. And on top of that, he created the Eternals to kind of replace the New Gods. Like it's really kind of a weird cycle here. He wanted Jack Kirby wanted to do the Ragnarok story in Thor, like kill off Thor, kill off the Asgardians. But the thing was because he was a fan of Norse mythology, having dug it deeper into it to write Thor and everything, he found like okay, there are numerous myths that show it's not the end of everything necessarily. It's like okay, there are surviving gods, they come back and they start a new pantheon basically, like, and that's what led to the new gods. Because like Marvel wouldn't let him do it, so he went over to DC. He did the new gods there. His plans for that there, and he wanted to do the new gods to kind of have like a big climactic story where they're killed off and like more new gods show up. It was you wanted to have this kind of like big godly epic cycle to them. Um, well, DC didn't want to kill off them either. It's not because there was a big draw as Thor was for Marvel, but at the same time, like they had become a very, kind of like a corner of the DC universe, and they didn't want to just upend that at the time. So he went back to Marvel and made the Eternals, which was basically like, okay, he's just going to do a whole new take on it, like okay, the Eternals, the Celestials, all of that, and yep, yeah, New Gods are DC's Norse, and Eternals are essentially Marvel's Greek Roman, yeah, which makes it really weird when you consider the fact that Marvel does actually have the Greco-Roman gods existing too, like Hercules and everything. Um, and Jack Kirby believed in the ancient. Um, Well, he didn't necessarily believe it. At least I don't think so. Either he might have. I'm not 100% on that, but he was a fan of the book *Chariot of the Gods*, which did propose that um, aliens did visit ancient Earth and they were mistaken for gods. Um, but which is kind of like basically the whole basis of the Eternals can be traced back to *Chariot of the Gods* and 2001: A Space Odyssey, which incidentally, Jack Kirby actually wrote and drew the comics for when Marvel got the license for that. Small world. Also, a bit interesting tidbit: the 2001: A Space Odyssey comics were where we got Machine Man from, because that is his origin. An android ends up getting touched by one of the monoliths and becomes sentient. So yeah, interesting bit there. Uh, but yeah, I'm going to see the Eternals because really, I mean, here's the thing: Marvel has proven, the MCU has proven again and again that yeah, they can take any kind of like lesser known property. Yeah, and also of course inspired Stargate. Not mistaken with Fargate. That's correct. Bizarro. That's correct. But here's the thing. With the Eternals, Marvel's proven time and time and time again that they can take lesser known characters and make them into billion-dollar franchises. I mean, now you might think, well, lesser known, but people knew the Hulk, and yeah. I mean, here's the thing: in the original Avengers lineup, everyone knew what the characters were, kind of had this general idea, but they didn't really know them. Like, really, the Hulk was the only like pure, like every layman or had some idea what his deal was. Like every like non-comic like reader, just general movie going audience kind of knew what the Hulk was. Scientist Bruce Banner gets angry, turns into the Hulk. I mean, granted, I mean, really the Hulk is kind of like Marvel's most famous. I mean, up to that at that point, his most famous uh Marvel's most famous character they had up in that lineup. And you think, oh, what about Captain America? Captain America, everyone just thought he was just before the movie. Everyone thought, oh yeah, it's Captain America. He's like America first, and probably just that's all he is. Thor, people definitely knew a little bit about Thor, but just because he was a Norse god. And Iron Man, let's be honest, most people probably like before the movie, everyone just assumed like, oh yeah, it's who the Black Sabbath song's based on, right? Yeah, so and Marvel Man and even the Avengers had never been a huge like seller for Marvel. It was always the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, X-Men, kind of the Hulk sometimes. So yeah, yeah, I say Bizarro. I do feel that we'll see a lot of Neil Gaiman's work in the film. Yeah, yeah. Neil Gaiman actually, because here's the thing about the Eternals too that kind of worries a lot of people. They're not really that known in the comics, mostly because after the Jack Kirby run, there had been like a few attempts to bring them back to make them more, relevant, I guess, to the comics, and that just, it never really panned out that well, mostly because no one could really get close to Kirby's level of like, this whole grand cosmic stuff. Neil Gaiman actually did because like he's used to writing big cosmic stuff. So who's your favorite X-Men member? Well, I love Wolverine, but really, I think at this point it's safe to say he's kind of more of his just own thing. Like, yeah, he's in the X-Men, but he didn't debut in the X-Men, and even most of his like stuff we learn more about him kind of does come from like his first solo series and everything. So I kind of count Wolverine as X-Men, but also at the same time his own thing. So really, though. I guess my favorite X Men would have to be Nightcrawler. I just love Nightcrawler. Yeah, yeah, Nightcrawler for me is not yeah, 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 Bizarro. Yeah, same here. Me because like again, I mean, obviously, like most people say, oh, Wolverine. I think Wolverine can stand on his own so much. Like okay, I mean, let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. Wolverine is the only X Men character that has like a rogues gallery. Like not just he has this one villain for the X-Men that wants to get him specifically, like Cyclops and Mr. Sinister. No, it's like no, he has a rogues gallery, like Sabretooth, of course, Cyber, the Gorgon, uh um Viper, or Madam Hydra, she's called Lady Deathstrike, Deadpool, kinda on a bad day for Deadpool. But the Hand, which granted did start in Daredevil, but at the same time, most so, yeah, yeah, and Wolverine, so on, but yeah, Dawn of Justice, yeah, Wolverine also been on a part of the Foreign Avengers too. Yeah, yeah, I mean, Wolverine is his own franchise. Let's be real here. Wolverine is his own franchise. Which, I mean, that's why we're getting a Wolverine game, not an X Men game. Uh, but yeah, yeah, just I really do. Oh, we're enough about. Show goes to show what how powerful Wolverine is. Yeah, yes. Some say Nightcrawler's my favorite X Man. Still into talking more about Wolverine. um, but yeah, Wolverine is. I mean, sorry, Nightcrawler. Yeah, I really do like Nightcrawler. He's funny. He's got a lot of pathos to him. Um, Also, yeah, also Alpha Flight Canada's Avengers. The funny thing is, I Alpha Flight. I really do hope we get an Alpha Flight movie now because I mean, technically, Marvel could always like the MCU could always use them technically, but because most of their lineup is made of mutants, I guess that kind of made it a little harder to do. So yeah, uh, but yeah, I guess they could do them now. Let's see. If you can choose any superhero to get a game, which one would you choose? Superman. Superman all day, every day. Superman all day, every day, 1,000 times, every single time. Um, Seriously. Everyone always goes, well, it's everyone always goes, well, it's hard to make a Superman game, and I'm not denying that. I'm not saying it would be a cakewalk, but here's the thing: if we can make Dragon Ball Z games where you can blast people through buildings and fly and shoot stuff and everything, if we can make Dragon Ball games, why can't we make a Superman game? What is I mean, okay, a good Superman game because there was a games developer that was called yeah, like a Bizarro guy, World, Apocalypse, Intergang. Yeah. Also, there was the Superman game was being made. A Superman game was being made by a studio called Factor 5. They went out of business. They went bankrupt, mostly because Warner Brothers pulled their funding. Um, but they were working on a Superman game, and they actually managed to get around. They actually managed to get around the whole thing of okay, well, what could challenge Superman? Here's the thing: the plot of their game was most of Superman's like big heavy hitter villains are all coming for him. We're talking Metallo, we're talking Doomsday, we're talking Parasite, we're talking um we are talking like having like that game would have been okay, you want to be Superman? Here's Superman. We are going to like throw every single heavy hitter villain he's got right at you. They were going to use Atomic Skull, Bizarro, like all of his major like okay these are Livewire was going to be in it. All of the big okay these are villains that could knock Superman around. And how they would have done it is like as far as like it would have been a free roam in Metropolis, and what they were planning on is lower level crimes like against like bank robbers and stuff would have given you more experience points like upgrade stuff for Superman. You would not take damage in those because like okay if Superman takes damage from a bank robbery, um yeah, so essentially it's the yeah essentially it's the storyline where Manchester Alley Clark kind of. I mean, they didn't go too far into the story, but what it would be. But basically, the whole thing was every major villain would have been like, okay, the free roam stuff where you're trying to like stopping like regular crimes and disasters and stuff would have been like to get experience, and all of the villains would have just been like we're talking citywide fights, like not just like one little room. Like it would have been a citywide fight. Like Darkseid isn't even gonna be in the game. So yeah, fighting Darkseid. Yeah, but of course canceled. That's on do a game of the elite. Yes, I mean yes. Just there is so much. I mean, here's the thing. Oh well, Superman's too overpowered. Superman, it's like okay. I mean, what do you? I mean, my whole take on what would be a good Superman game, and I think this would really work, is if you do a game where it's like Superman Year One. Like do a Superman Year One kind of scenario where it's like, okay, Superman just shown up. you start kind of with like, okay, he can leap really far. He doesn't have heat vision yet. Throughout the game, you unlock all of that. Like it's him being his first like real big outings, and throughout the game, you unlock more and more and more of it, and then and then by the end, you get to play as a fully powered Superman. If that is not a great end game reward, I don't know what is. I really don't. It's like, and plus, you could like have it be, Superman. Again, like play to the idea of, okay, this is like, it would be an origin technically, but at the same time, you're like, okay, it's Superman year one. You get to introduce all his villains, and yeah, maybe like have the storyline span like literally just a year, like literally have it be a year in game where it's like, okay, there's different stuff going on. Like maybe um, started early in the started kind of early, and maybe have him debut in winter or something. Kind of like maybe do a Superman all seasons kind of thing. Um, and like have be Lex being there and all the villains coming from him, that kind of thing. I mean, it's just me spitballing here, but do something like that. You know, but yeah, yeah. Superman definitely needs a game, and runner up for for if we didn't get a Superman game would be a Flash game. I'm honestly surprised. Like, okay, if everyone talks about how hard, what kills me is everyone talks about how hard a Superman game would be. Like, oh, he's so overpowered. Like, have you never read a Flash comic? The Flash is more OP than Superman. Did you know what if uh here Dawn of Justice? Did you watch What If? If so, what are your thoughts? I actually really liked What If. There are there are some that I think kind of fell short in that first season. Um, like okay, the weakest one to me, and I would be the What If T'Challa was Star Lord. That one, I mean, it was good. Well, that okay. Actually, I take that back. The two weakest would be What If T'Challa was Star Lord, and What If Thor was an only child. The reason for that is the reason T'Challa ranks so low is mostly, and yes, I know, it was the last thing Chadwick Boseman did before he died, and I respect that, really do. I just don't think it was that. I mean, my problem with it is several issues. For one, it kind of made me wonder, like, there were good parts of like, okay, like I felt it was just kind of rushed in a lot of areas. Like, oh by the way, you didn't know T'Challa managed to convince Thanos not to be a genocidal maniac anymore. Yeah, that happened. That happened. Could we see that happen? That could have been an episode in and of itself with that setup. Um, that could have been the plot of the episode. Like, T'Challa encountering Thanos, and like, it literally being him convincing him to drop the whole crusade. That could have been an episode. That could have been the plot. It wasn't. Like, and the fact that he's still Star Lord, like we know where Peter Quill got the name Star Lord from, but they never actually explain why T'Challa is using the name Star Lord. They never actually explain that. They like he does like I mean, it could have, like, they just never explain it, and it just seems kind of like, I don't know, like, I guess you kind of go with maybe he like, oh well, I'm a prince, so maybe I can be like a Star Lord. I'm a prince in Wakanda. I could be like a Star Prince. Like, no, Star Prince. That doesn't work. Star Lord, yeah, that's more your speed. I'm like, okay, like, I don't know, just something. I would have called him Star. Yeah, Star. That's actually pretty cool. That is actually really cool. I like that, Star Panther. Um, the other one I think was really weak was What If Thor was an only child. Mostly because I, I mean, it was a fun episode. I just don't like. I don't know. It's like, okay, first of all, it just raises a lot of questions that don't really get answered. Like, okay, for instance, Thor being this party dude, and somehow that's a threat, and like I get Shield being like, but really, Thor causing a worldwide party is enough to call in Carol Danvers. Interesting. Interesting. Also, also just the fact that okay, it just didn't. I don't know. Also, the fact it's just kind of really weird too. Like you see Frost Giant Loki and like full giant size. I'm like, wait a second. Loki was always kind of supposed to be the runt of the Frost Giants, yet here he is, like really tall and everything. I don't know. I just didn't feel it. I mean, Party Thor was fun. Just I didn't really feel it. Like, my favorite episode would have to be oddly the first. Like, Captain Carter. Quickly, and I'm a Captain America fan. I love Cap's stuff, and I loved Agent Carter, and really, just I really felt like it was a good like I just to me the Captain Carter episode, and I go like really the first episode your favorite like right out of the gate. Yeah, I mean it kind of was. Mostly because it really did feel like okay, I want this. It was a universe I wanted to see more of. Like I really did want to see more of. Like okay, we know the Winter Soldier isn't a thing, but at the same time, like at the final episode, we see Peggy actually going in and like doing the opening to the Winter Soldier movie. So I'm like, okay, okay, what's gonna be the thing that tips him off to Hydra? Like how's Sam going to get involved? And of course, the fact they find Steve, Hydra Stomper Steve. Then like, okay, spoilers, but clearly everyone asking here, you know, uh, I probably already knew that. I mean, you asked the question if I saw it, so but like there was enough there. Like, I really do want to see more of that universe because whereas like the others, I'm like I kind of don't. I mean, we were calling Winter Soldier Steel Winter Dynamo. I was like, yeah, Winter Dynamo. Yeah, because we have not gotten a Winter Soldier. We didn't get the Crimson Dino or anything. Like, what I would love to see for What If in What If season 2, what I would love to see is an Iron Man focused What If, and it shows him like maybe having to deal with like more of his villains from the comics. I don't know what you would call that What If, or how you would spin that into a What If. I'm not sure, but maybe like okay, well the Shang-Chi did really well. You could call it like okay, what if the Mandarin, what if the Ten Rings sought revenge or something? And it's like okay, but it's the real Ten Rings that Shang-Chi's dad was running. It's like okay, I'm going to deal with this Iron Man guy personally, something like that. Um, Marvel Zombies was fun. I mean, it was just fun. It was fun to kind of see Marvel Zombies as a thing, in the MCU because that was the one thing where I was curious. Like we were constantly curious. Like, okay, they're doing Marvel Zombies, really? I mean, it's cool they're doing Marvel Zombies, but at the same time, it's like, really, you're doing Marvel Zombies, and like how gory is this gonna be? And I was shocked at the level of like zombie gore we got. Um, but I mean, it was a fun one, but yeah, yeah, but I do really did like what it. Let's see here. Um, did I see there was a Mario movie? What are my thoughts on the Mario movie? Yeah, Mario movie. I love the fact Charlie Day is Luigi. I really do. I love the fact Charlie Day is Luigi. I really do. Love the fact Charlie Day is Luigi. I'm not sold on Chris Pratt. I'm not saying he's gonna do a bad job, and it's like I love Chris Pratt as an actor. I really do. Um, I'm just not sure how they're gonna say because I don't necessarily want Chris Pratt to just do Chris Pratt. I don't want to just be like, oh hi, I'm Mari. I can't do a Chris Pratt impression. Um, but I don't want to just be like or he's just like going, hi, I'm Mario. Like and here's the thing, like there are two ways you can play Mario. You can do it the modern, like Yahoo, it's me, I'm Mario, or you could do like the original like '80s style, like yeah, it's me Mario. Like I was like hey, it's me Mario. Where he's got more of a Brooklyn accent to him, like because originally Mario and Luigi had more of a Brooklyn accent to them. They weren't they were Italian, but they were Brooklyn Italian. There were two ways you could play that. I'm just worried that we're gonna see like, oh, by the way, just talk like yourself. You know what I'm saying? Jack Black as Bowser is perfect casting. No one can tell me different. Um, Jack Black as Bowser is just perfect casting. I love that. um, One thing I do hope if this does get a sequel, we get or like he could even show up in this movie. I don't know, just an Easter egg. Danny DeVito as Wario. Let's go. Like seriously. Danny DeVito as Wario and Steve Buscemi as Waluigi. Do you like the movie School of Rock? I love the movie School of Rock. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I found it weird that Nickelodeon finally decided to do a TV show based on it, like years after the original movie. Really found that weird. Um, but um, yeah, I really love School of Rock. One of my favorite Jack Black movies. My favorite Jack Black movie would have to be um, a toss up between Shallow Hal and uh, it's a three-way toss up between Shallow Hal, School of Rock, and Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. Yep. Uh, Come on, you can't go wrong with Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. You really can't. uh, so yeah, yeah, but Tenacious D does need a sequel. Yeah. Do I like South Park? I have just one thing to say to that. Screw you guys, I'm going home. Nope, nope. You guys, home. Yeah, I love South Park. I really do like Stan. Stan is actually my favorite character in South Park. Stan and Wendy. I really like those two. Um, yeah. I mean, because like at first I liked Kyle a little more. Like really though, and I don't know. At first I liked Kyle a lot, and then like slowly but surely I just kind of like started. Like what, Stan. I like Stan a lot. Especially now yeah, my favorite character Stan, then Wendy, then Tweak and Clyde. I actually ship Tweak and Clyde. I'm sorry. I really do. I just find it funny how that relationship started. Like, like okay, at first it's fake, and they're just doing it to like okay, because people be mad, whatever. Then actually, they actually do start dating. Like oh wait, yeah, I guess we are dating now. I don't know. I just thought that was funny. I gotta say, favorite episode. It's the one where honestly, I've had so many favorite episodes across the show, but currently it's the episode where Randy buys the old Blockbuster and is trying to make it work. I just love that the whole Shining reference they do. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, oh I get it. Blockbuster's so dead that only ghosts are here. Real funny. Minus Game of Thrones trilogy. Yeah. Oh, that was good. That was good. Um, that one, yeah, the blockbuster one, and the second one would have to be like the wrestling episode, where like it just evolves in the fact they're not even wrestling at a certain point. They're just like doing plays in the park with with the storylines, which really does show the strength of wrestling because like yeah, you can just have two, which is why wrestling is so popular. Like you can have like yeah, sure you have MMA and boxing, which don't get me wrong, I love boxing, but at the same time, it's like with MMA and like boxing, you really don't get those kind of like intense personal like storylines or one character or one guy will mess with another or like you don't get the same level of drama necessarily unless it's a sports movie. uh, which is one reason why South Park really did showcase the strengths of wrestling through that. See here, Dawn of Justice. Do you think Bay Area Bill should finally get in the MCU? Yes, and I believe Thor: Love and Thunder will be the one to do it because they've pretty much confirmed Mjolnir is coming back. So basically, here's how I think Thor: Love and Thunder is going to go. We're going to get Jane lifting the hammer. She's going to lift the hammer. She's going to be like female Thor for maybe a few scenes, enough to like sell the fact that okay, yeah, this is why she's coming back. Have it happen. Because here's the thing, Chris Hemsworth does not want to leave Thor. Like he was gonna leave Thor at a certain point, because like Thor: Dark World and like his role in Avengers 2, he's like, I'm just not feeling this. Q Ragnarok, he's like, no, wait, no, I love being Thor. No, no, I don't want to leave. Don't make me leave. That was basically his reaction to it. So yeah, I don't. So obviously, I don't think Jane as Thor is going to be a permanent thing. But if she's back and Thor gets Mjolnir again, um, Stormbreaker's got to go to somebody, and it's gonna go to the old horse face that wielded it to first. So basically, that's what I'm thinking. Where we're gonna get where that's going to happen. Obviously, different stuff will probably take place. Might not be as clear cut, but really, I think those are the story beats we're going to get. Jane comes back, Wheeler Mjolnir, somehow gets reforged. Maybe I don't know, or maybe it could, or she, or we're going into the multiverse now. It could be that it's a multiverse Jane in a world where. That actually would be an interesting one to do too. Like, what if Jane was worthy of Mjolnir? Like, what if she got it? Because that is where the idea of Jane Foster as Thor came from originally. It was a what if they did where Jane got the hammer, and she actually had a name for herself, Thordis, which is literally when translated Thunder Goddess. Yeah. So any reason she wasn't called that in the comics, Jason Aaron? Any reason? No? Didn't think so. Because you're a hack. But that's a whole nother thing. See here. But yeah, I really do think Bay Area Bill we should get in the MCU. Because I love Bay Area Bill. I love Bay Area Bill. He is fun. He is a fun character. Yep. I'm not sure they'll do him though. Actually, what they could do is, because here's the thing. I think they could actually use Beta Ray Bill to bring up Galactus. Because here's the thing, like for a while, Beta Ray Bill was like hunting Galactus. His original origin was, he hated Surtur. He wanted to like get revenge on Surtur for destroying his planet. But he also has a very intense rivalry with Galactus. So what I'm thinking is they could like if they bring him in, it could be like a strong hint, like my planet was destroyed by this devourer. We don't know its name, and like really allude to Galactus. Like let Beta Ray Bill be the really big build up to Galactus. Um. So yeah. What's your favorite Star Wars trilogy from worst to best? Okay. Favorite. The original trilogy. Oh no, you said from worst to best, worst to best. Sorry, spoiled it. Worst. I'm gonna go with the prequels. Like, okay, even if they have technically gotten a bit better with time, there is no excuse in Attack of the Clones. There is no excuse in Attack of the Clones. You can defend the Phantom Menace, and you can defend Revenge of the Sith. You can defend those. That's fine. You can defend them, and I'll agree. Revenge of the Sith is one of the better prequels, but there is no defense of Attack of the Clones. There is no defense. It is the worst Star Wars movie ever made. I don't care if it gave us. I don't care if it gave us Jango Fett. I don't care. I really don't. I don't care if it gave us that cool Yoda Count Dooku fight. Nope, don't care. It is awful. It is awful. So yeah, the only reason you need to bring up Attack of the Clones is in reference to plot is in reference to the Clone Wars. Both cartoons. You can skip over Attack of the Clones because yeah, we don't need it. We really don't. Now that's the worst to me. Second best, the sequel trilogy. I know what some you might say. Some people might say, well, the sequel trilogy sucks. It just rips off the original. I'm like, okay, here's the thing. First movie did not rip off the original. It followed similar story beats, yes, but really, I the first one is okay. The first one is okay. It sets up the characters. I like the characters. It sets it up. It does its job. Is it the most groundbreaking Star Wars movie? No. Middle of the road. It's not good. It's not great. It's not awful. It's just middle of the road. Yeah. Bizarro. It's classic hero's journey. Yeah. It does its job. Now, Last Jedi. Oh boy. I liked it. I liked Last Jedi. Here's the problem. To me, Last Jedi, I believe. Okay, how do I explain this? Last Jedi, to me, tried to solve too many of its own plot threads. And for a fact, you are making a sequel. You know this. It's on the wall. There's no, oh, maybe we'll get a sequel. Maybe we better fill off this. No, you know you're getting a sequel. You know you're getting a sequel. And, oh, yeah, you like to show a Finn story needs stream? Like, yes, it did. Yes, it did. But, at the end, it's like the last 20 minutes of, the last 20 minutes needed to leave way more open. It needed to leave way more open because here's the thing. They answered to me, and this is my opinion. I've seen others that have different ones. That think think it ended fine. And no, I can see that point. I can see that plot. I can see that line of thinking. But to me, it ended way too late. It should have been cut. The last 20 minutes should have been cut. Because doing so, they had no idea what to do for the sequel. They had no idea what to do for Rise of Skywalker. They really didn't. Because as it stands, you're not gonna don't get me wrong. Rise of Skywalker is not the worst Star Wars movie I've seen. We know what the worst Star Wars movie is. It doesn't come close. It doesn't really even come close. Rise of Skywalker to me is the worst to Attack of the Clones. Mostly because I feel they were just throwing stuff at the wall to see what would work. Was there stuff I agreed with? No. Making retconning Rey into being, and here's the thing, even the retcon could have worked. Oh no, they were afraid that he would use her to be a force. Here's how that retcon could have worked. Her parents were still awful people that traded their daughter off. And here's the thing, you could have still gone with she didn't show any signs of being force sensitive. Here's the thing, they were doing so good at going the idea that, okay, the force can choose whoever it wants. If anyone can be force sensitive, it's not all genetics. They could have done that, but no, and they still could have done that. Okay, yeah, just because your grandfather is one of the most powerful Siths in the galaxy does not mean you are going to inherit that. It literally could have just been oh wait, she's not force. Palpatine could have been oh, she's not force sensitive. Well, throw in the gutter. I don't care. Literally just been yeah, she was not born force sensitive, but the force still ended up choosing her, and she became force sensitive. Really, just still go with the idea that, yeah, it was just a case of, you know, the force, the will of the force kind of thing. Also, a lot of people complain, oh, she didn't take the name Palpatine to redeem it. I'm gonna be frank. That's like taking the name Hitler and trying to redeem it. You can be frickin' Superman levels of good, Superman crossed with Mr. Rogers levels of good, and your last name be Hitler, but there is no redeeming the name Hitler. Same for Palpatine. Sorry, just don't see that one working. Really don't. Or taking the name Skywalker. That's like, you know what? That's like finding out you're the great grandson of Hitler, or like granddaughter of Hitler, or like grandchild of Hitler, and being like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna keep this to myself. That kind of thing. But so yeah, and finally, the original trilogy, favorite, um, favorite, yeah. I'll see. Dawn of Justice. Do you think Liam should do a live action Planet Hulk movie? Okay, I'm on two minds of this. One, we kind of already had Planet Hulk. The whole thing on. I mean, already went to Sakaar and everything. Now, I do think they might be able to do it again. I mean, here's the thing: oh, isn't that rehashing? Like, well, no, he accidentally ended up there. No one sent him off. What I think they could do is, because we don't know how She-Hulk's going to play out. The Hulk is going to be in there. We don't know how She-Hulk is going to play out. Now, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the whole thing of like, oh, Bruce Banner being in control of the Hulk and becoming this big hero and everything. I think that has been possibly, like, I don't think they planned it out, but I do think they're going to be taking advantage of it. Because here's the thing, he's in a great spot. He's like, oh, I'm not out of control anymore. Don't worry, don't worry. So something happens, She-Hulk, cue him losing control, cue people being afraid of him again. Yeah. She-Hulk ends up becoming the main Hulk of the Earth, and like you can even have Ross, because Red Hulk's supposed to show up in She-Hulk. You could easily have that be the thing where he decides, like, okay, I'm gonna take the Hulk out, and like force him to be just as, like, go all out. He ends up getting sent off, and like like Ross secretly as Red Hulk, because I would have it be no one knows he's Red Hulk. Like, use it as an excuse, like, okay, we're gonna send him to space. We can't kill him, but we are going to, like maybe he promised Betty or something. Like, okay, I'm not gonna kill him, but I'm gonna get him off this planet. And like, like send him off into space. He's back up on Sakaar, and because the Grand Master has essentially been, essentially kind of been like disposed, you have it be that the Red King comes in and is taking over Sakaar, and yeah, like Hulk, and like make the, yeah, I think that's how you do Planet Hulk. Um, or you can both be a send off, and like Planet Hulk, you can even line up for a World War Hulk movie. That'd be something. Get us a World War Hulk movie, because we are close to getting the Illuminati in the, because Reed Richards is coming. We know Professor X is coming. Doctor Strange is already here. Iron Man isn't, but I mean, of course, Namor's coming in too. So you got the good makings of the Illuminati here. Um. So yeah. Okay. Who would I think? Okay. What do you hope to see in Guardians of the Galaxy 5? Honestly, I want to see the Annihilation Wave. Yeah, I want to see the Annihilation Wave. I think it's overdue. And some people might be going, well, shouldn't Annihilus be in the Fantastic Four first? Well, here's the thing. We're clearly going to get Fantastic Four before we get Guardians 5. That's like, okay, like, we're just now getting Guardians. All right. Go, G-O-D. Oh, God of War 5. Duh. Yeah. Yeah, my brain went stupid there for a second. um, uh, God of War 5. Honestly, I think we're gonna get a lot of yeah, yeah, yeah. For some reason, like for some reason, even seeing the GOW, I was like, wait, yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm like, wait, no. Like my brain slowly pieced it together. Yeah, that was on me, dude. God of War 5. Honestly, I want to see Fenrir. I want to see Fenrir. Um, like, here's the thing: we know so little about this game that honestly, I think the game is going to be split in two parts. The first part you're going to be playing like not split like God of War 5 Part 1 and like go into a sequel. I mean like the first half of the game and the second half of the game are going to be completely different. The first half of the game, I think you are going to still be playing as Kratos, of course, and because here's the thing: Loki, Atreus does meet Arnaxa, or like I can never remember how to say the giantess's name, but that they did show that she was going to be in it, and she is the mother of Hel, Fenrir, and you know Jormungandr. And here's the thing: I think the second half we're going to be playing as Atreus, or rather, as a name he'll probably be going by, Loki. And we're gonna see his, and it's gonna be a thing of we're playing as Loki, like full on. He's got his children with him. I know you might be thinking, well, didn't they already have like the world serpent? I'm like, yeah, but he implied that he time traveled, so he could still easily be his son. Um, so yeah, but the main thing is I do want to see Fenrir. Like, I'm definitely 100% sure Fenrir is going to be like the either the final boss, like, or because here's the thing, Fenrir does eat the world, like he devours the sun and moon. That's gonna be something like we'll be like, okay, maybe we need to step in here and stop this. You know, so yeah, do want to see more Fenrir in it. Yeah. So yeah, for too long. So it's not that they've stopped trying. It's just you know they make decent episodes. Some are less, some are kind of not that great, but I mean I still watch it on occasion. I mean The Simpsons knows it's past where it stopped being relevant. So yeah, but it's not like they've stopped throwing in the towel. It's just like, okay, we're just gonna keep doing what we're doing. Hi, we're the Simpsons. Which I don't mind. Clearly the quality's gone down, but it's not to the point where I want to stop watching. Who knows? Maybe season 35 that's been confirmed. Like, no, is no, yeah, I think they did confirm they're going to get the confirmed like to be renewed up to season 35. So yeah, joy. um, maybe by then I'll get tired of The Simpsons. Modern Family Guy. Boy, Modern Family Guy. Not a fan. Like, okay, occasionally I'll watch a new episode here or there. Like if I hear that it's funny, but like the whole episode they did with Lois trying to like be on the customer appreciation board at a coffee place. I'm like, you know, that was kind of funny. That was kind of funny because we never really saw a Lois centered episode, and just seeing her go off the deep end like that was kind of funny. I think that had some good jokes in it too, like Peter just going like, "Okay, best Spider-Man, go," and like everyone's talking about Spider-Man, and then Brian out of nowhere, did he have the best Batman? Was he the best Batman? No, but was Affleck the best Batman? No, but he had the best Batman body, just like out of nowhere. Stuff like that was just kind of funny. Um, yeah, but on a whole, I mean, I have heard like more and more that Modern Family Guy is slowly getting a little better, but I don't know. the fact that they kind of resorted to just going like, oh, we hear something really dark and disturbing. That's funny, right? No joke. It's just dark and disturbing. No, we're just going to show you disturbed imagery. Isn't that funny? The fact that they just kind of do that, it's just like, yeah, I'm not sure I want to watch you anymore. Uh, but really, both shows have gone on a little too long. Now, weirdly, the one show that hasn't, and I really hope doesn't end, is American Dad. Seriously, I love American Dad. American Dad is still funny, and to me, to me, the longer it goes on, American Dad just gets better and better. Because you know, right out the gate, you had characters. Roger makes the show for one, and right out the gate, you had like, okay, it's just a fun show. Uh, yeah, American Dad, like there you go. Between Simpsons and Family Guy, between those two, American Dad, the adjacent Family Guy. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, seriously, Roger just makes American Dad. Yeah. American Dad made the perfect Twilight Zone episode with that TV. Yeah, yep, they did. Yeah, they did. I also love like the fact. I also love the James Bond parodies they do sometimes. I wish they do another one. Like the first one's like Stan is James Bond. Like I love those. The fact that okay, like here's the like with the Cleveland, like obviously Family Guy did the whole here's Star Wars specials, which were fun. They were fun, and you had the Cleveland show. Yeah, Cleveland show was actually pretty good. I hate that they canceled that. Cleveland show was actually pretty good. I liked Cleveland show. The Cleveland show. Cleveland show did Die Hard. It was just the characters doing the roles. I liked the James Bond like 007 episodes of American Dad because like oh no we're not technically trying to do James Bond. I mean obviously it's James Bond, but it's just like okay it's just original villain original stuff. We're just putting them in all the characters in a spy setting that just mimics James Bond. I think that's a little more creative. I don't know, but just the fact that Roger's plan as uh as a tear jerker is literally just I'm going to make the world cry at my movie and kill everybody because they cried so hard. Just honest, it's just funny. Yeah. Plus, their Christmas specials are amazing. Seriously, when literally most of your Christmas specials revolve around the fact that Santa Claus is a supervillain and wants you dead, yeah, you're doing something right. Yeah, like seriously, my favorite one of theirs they did was I think it was the one a couple years ago or maybe longer. Yeah, yeah, Santa's their side. Yeah, he is. Like seriously, full on like supervillain Santa. Like I love the one from a couple years ago. Yeah, I think it was a couple years ago. Not the most recent one they did, like a couple years. Anyway, the one where they discover Santa's trying to resurrect the Mesopotamian giant that Gilgamesh and Enkidu slew Humbaba and get the seven auras. I'm like, what? Like Santa's trying to. is, we're going with Mesopotamian mythology for Santa Claus. Okay, all right, we're the Gilgamesh and everything. Like, okay, this is actually this. Oh man, as I mean, kudos for knowing your mythology, and second of all, like if you're gonna go supervillain Santa, that's a new one on me, and so yeah, that was just fun. Uh, yeah. Speaking of Seth MacFarlane, anyone here has seen the Orville? Has anyone here seen the Orville? I'll throw the question out to you guys. Have you guys seen the Orville? Yeah, also yeah, Fran being an expert on the. Oh yeah, bizarre. I forgot you did. Yeah, uh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, sorry, brain fart. But yeah, I really do like the Orville. The Orville, yeah, it is great. Yeah, a lot of people's like, well, why is it a comedy? Like, the comedy parts don't work. Like, here's the thing, that's kind of why I like it. It was like, I'm a huge Star Trek fan, always have been, always will be. I do think at times, like, I think, it's like, the main reason I like the Orville is, one, it's good sci fi. It really is good sci fi. The Orville is really good sci fi, but here's the thing, people say, oh, it's a Star Trek ripoff, it's a Star Trek ripoff. I'm like, okay, if it's a Star Trek ripoff, then so is Babylon 5. Sorry, I just gotta say it. Not every space exploration sci-fi show set in the future is a ripoff of Star Trek. Star Trek wasn't even that original when it came out. Like, let's be honest here, it wasn't. Because there were like pulp novels and comic stuff that did kind of have that same setup. The space explorers. Like, I mean, Dan Dare, for instance, in the British comic character Dan Dare did the same thing. That Lost Light is a ripoff. Yeah, the reason they want to go is ripoff. Oh, well, it's set in the future and they have different colored uniforms. Like, okay, I mean, it's not a ripoff if you're homaging things. Like, because clearly it is an homage. It's a loving, it's a love letter to both Star Trek and the kind of optimistic. Because here's the thing, that's the reason Seth MacFarlane decided to do it. Like, he outright said the reason he wanted to do the Orville was because he was tired of every sci-fi show that's been coming out being just like this grim, dark, oh, the future sucks, or it's gonna be terrible in the future. I'm like, yeah, he just got tired of the future being this thing of, oh, we have to dread it. It's going to be terrible just because it's terrible now. Like, I agree with that. I mean, like, what happened to like looking at the future and going, wow, this is what we can have in the future. It's I mean, yeah, Power Rangers took inspiration from Star Trek. Yeah, Lost in Space. I mean, not Lost in Space. Power Rangers in Space had a very Star Trek vibe to it. You know, um, Captain's chair included, and the multiple uniform colors. Of course, that was par for the course. Yeah, Lost Galaxy too. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing: when Star Trek has become such a huge phenomenon, you lose all right to say that something is ripping it off. You lose all right to say that's like, oh, well, something's ripping off Superman. Yeah, yeah, because Superman is this brand new character that no one's ever seen before. Yeah. Hi, Hyperion. Hi, Blue Marvel. Hi, Sentry. Hi, Captain Marvel. Yeah. Yep. All clearly rip-offs. Well, Captain Marvel, much as I love him, did technically start as one. But at least they were smart enough to change enough things where he was still more or less his own character. You know. But yeah, it's like, again, I just the Orville is just a great sci-fi show, and it's good to finally have something that's Star Trek like without have it being Star Trek. Because like Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda, that was a granted it's from Gene Roddenberry. He created Star Trek, but at the same time, it's like it wasn't set in the Star Trek universe. Um, so, but yeah, it's just yeah, I will say though, Babylon 5 is getting a reboot. Like, people say, oh, is it gonna be a sequel? No, it's a reboot. I'm like, I'm kind of game for that. It's uh, I would be kind of game for that. Just see what they do. Yeah. So funny story. Dune's coming out. Of course, we all know. But funny story, when Star Wars came out, people complained that it was a ripoff of Dune. Yeah, Like, oh, they've got psychic powers, and it's on a and there's a desert planet. Clearly, this is a ripoff of Dune. Oh, they're swords. Yeah, Dune ripoff. Dune ripoff. Like, really? I mean, I'm actually one of the few people I like. One of the few people that have like read Dune all the way through, and I saw the original movie too. What part was rip? Did Star Wars rip off exactly? Like what part? Like, cause last I checked, there was no Death Star planet destroyer in Dune. Just saying. But yeah, and no space cowboys either. Just you know. I don't know. It's kind of like one of those things. Like, okay, like if something happens to be popular and you don't like it, you'll always, yeah. The original Star Wars is more debatable. Yeah, yeah. Like, are you talking about the? Are you talking about like the original like first draft Star Wars? That recently got a comic, the Star Wars. Are you talking about that or like the first movie? Yeah, the Star Wars. Yeah, yeah. Having read that, now that I can honestly say that one. Yeah, I see what you're talking. I can see where people come from on that one. Yeah, I can see where people come from on that one. That one was very rip off. That one was. That one was just. I mean, it's interesting to see, but at the same time, yeah, if that was the one that came out back then, there is no way. Uh, it still could have been popular, I think, but there is no way anyone's gonna go. Oh, it's yeah. Yeah, I've been going at this for a bit, so yeah, guys. This has been fun. I might can't tell you when I'll do another one, but even I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, this has been Captain Omni signing off.